All right, y'all. We are finally back in the studio. I know we've had a nice little break, good little holiday break. I hope everybody else did. But Happy New Year to everybody. I know we did the last show was the last one that we would have of 2022, and we're now back in 2023. I haven't caught a bass yet in 2023, so I'm sure. Actually, I know Tyler has. I'm sure Smoke has. By the way, Smoke is not joining me today, but I've replaced him with a much better guest, in my opinion. I mean, Smoke's good. We like Smoke. We like Brian New. Brian New's always here. He's always pretty comical. But I got a very special guest in the studio that I'm going to introduce in just a minute. But I got a few little housekeeping items. One, Brian canceled on me at the last minute, and I'll tell y'all why. Anybody that's fishing Redcrest better look out, because Thrift has been on Norman like 47,823 times in his life, and he's actually starting to put in more time on that lake just to prep for Redcrest 2023, which goes down in March. And now that I know that it's a 5-fish format, I'm sure, obviously, he will be a force to be reckoned with there. But the reason he's not here is because he called me. He went to Norman today. He told me he was going to Norman today, spend some time out there looking around, doing his thing. And he called me at 6:10 and said, hey, I don't think I'm going to make the show. I said, why? Where are you at? He said, I just put the boat on the trailer. So he just put the boat on the trailer at 10 after 6. Norman's about an hour from here. And I said, well, just bring the boat to the studio. And anybody knows Thrift and his OCD, right? Like, he was like, I can't do that. I got to take the boat. I got to put it in the shop. I got to wipe it down. I got to hook my battery charger up. I got to put my rods. I got to do this. Got to do that. He's OCD. I don't have any other way to put it, but beware all Redcrest contenders, because that dude is putting his time in, and I'll be looking for big things from Mr. Thrift and the Redcrest. All right, Angler's Choice open houses. I know we talked about them before. We're going to talk about them again. We've got them coming up. We've got them the 3rd and last weekend in January and the first weekend in February. We've got them in Lexington, North Carolina, Spindale, North Carolina, and Martinsville, Virginia. I know they're going to have multiple pros at all those open houses. Brian and I will be present at the Martinsville location and the Spindale, North Carolina location. We'll be there for meet and greets, doing seminars, all kinds of cool things. They're going to have huge tackle sales, lots of vendors. It's going to be a good time. They're going to have some great deals on brand new Ranger boats, brand new Triton boats. We announced this on the last show. Angler's Choice Marine was the #1 Ranger and #1 Triton dealer in the U.S. in 2022, and that's pretty amazing. They've been top of the charts, I think, with Triton for multiple years. Ranger, they've been like top 3 or 5 multiple years, but last year they were the leading dealer in both brands, which is pretty awesome, and kudos to Angler's Choice Marine. As y'all know, they do have an awesome tackle website now. Angler's Choice Marine's tackles website is really coming along. They got a lot of really hard to find stuff, a lot of Japanese made stuff, really cool baits. And I think I mentioned this before, but if not, there is a code LTF10 for 10% off any purchase on Angler's Choice Tackle website. Guys, gals, thank y'all for tuning in. Oh, special shout out to one of our viewers for the, he said it was a mega bag of Zots, but it is like truly a mega bag of Zots. I think those came from Chris, right, Jeff? Didn't the Zots come from Chris? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they came. But anyway, shout out to Chris for the Zots, man. That was a special. Actually, I've got our guest already addicted. Maybe, I don't know. He didn't tell me if he liked them or not, but he tried a couple of them. Another thing, back to the Bass University announcement, y'all. Bass University is having. And I'm sorry I can't be there. We're going to be in Disney World with the family. But this weekend, January 14th and 15th, Anderson, South Carolina, they're going to have in-house sessions. They haven't, this has been, I know it's been a while since they've been able to do this because of COVID and everything the last couple of years. Super excited about that opportunity, but there are still tickets available for the in-house sessions, the in-person sessions. Let me give you the lineup. January 14th, we've got Fred Rumbanis, Drew Cook, and Drew Benton giving seminars. January 15th, you got Brian Schmidt, John Cruz, and John Murray. So an awesome lineup this weekend for Bass University down in Anderson, South Carolina. To sign up, to get your tickets, you can go to bassuniversity.com. Go to thebassuniversity.com. Excuse me, not Bass University, thebassuniversity.com, and you can still get some seats that are available for those in-house sessions. Great lineup, but check them out. Good group of guys over there. I've worked with them before. Brian's worked with them before. As a matter of fact, Brian is not going to be in the Anderson one. but I think he's going to be in the one coming up in Alabama here in Gadsden pretty soon, here in the next, I think it's in the next month or so. But anyway, yeah, check that out. Great opportunity, especially for all the viewers that we have relatively close to the area. It's a good opportunity to get down there and learn a lot from these guys. Drew Cook, Drew Benton, two of the best sight fishermen on the Elite Series. I imagine one of them, if I had to guess, is probably going to be doing a seminar on sight fishing. So that's going to be one I'll be listening to too. But anyway, all right, let's get down to business. Let's get down to the real deal here. I'm going to announce our special guest tonight. It is, y'all know that I've been involved a little bit with the CCBA over the last couple of years. Cleveland County Bass Anglers. Mr. Coleman Self is in the house from the Cleveland County Bass Anglers. And Coleman, I'm happy to have you in the studio. Finally, it's been a long time coming because we talked about it, but we just hadn't made it happen. But the reason I wanted to get Coleman in the studio is because he is the first kid from Cleveland County, which Cleveland County Bass Anglers is the only organization for the up and coming fishermen in the county now, to actually get a fishing scholarship to a major university for fishing. Which we've talked about this before on the show. I just that's still surreal to me because it never even crossed my mind when I was your age, and what I'm seeing now with the opportunities that y'all have is pretty amazing. But first, I'm going to let you talk about the CCBA and what it means to you and how that's been such a good stepping stone to be where you're at now.
Yeah, it all started back in probably my freshman year in high school. A buddy of mine started a little fishing team at Crest, and once I got up and they graduated, we started the CCBA team, and just from there we had 2 teams, and it just grew and grew and grew, and it's just such a good platform to be able to fish and compete with a lot of guys in the state and just put your name out there to maybe go to college and fish.
So there was just 4 kids originally on the team.
Originally, yep.
And I know the 2 men that I've been involved with the most with the CCBA who are really kind of the behind-the-scenes guys that have really made this evolve and make it what it is today is your dad, Barry, and Mr. Keith Latham.
Yeah, they do a very, very good job with that. Without them, we probably wouldn't be able to do what we do with the CCBA.
Yeah, they're very well organized. They've helped solicit sponsors for the team. Of course, your dad fully supports you. And I think it's great. I think it's great the opportunity that those 2 men have given to the kids in this county. And it's something that I hate to say I'm kind of jealous because it might have been a good thing for me. You're a little different, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I did enough to get by in school, and if you'd have thrown a fishing club in the mix when I was your age, I who knows what would have happened to me. But I get questions, all the time about how can I fish in college? How can I get a fishing scholarship? How, what are they looking for? What are they, what are their goals? And that's one thing that if I have a sponsorship interview with somebody, that's one thing that I ask them. Sometimes I want to turn the tables because I want to know what they expect out of me. And, tell the viewers what the college, if you hadn't figured it out, by the way, you want to tell them who you've actually signed with?
I'm actually committed to Bethel University in Tennessee. That's where I'll be going to fish my next 5 years of college. And
if anybody knows anything about Bethel and they follow college fishing, it is hands down at least one of the top 3 or 4 programs in the country.
Yeah. It's a blessing to be able to go there and pursue my fishing career.
And that's near, let's see, I don't know what town it's in, but it's near Nashville.
In McKenzie, Tennessee.
That's close to Nashville, right? So you're close.
About an hour and a half, maybe, something like that.
So you're close to Kentucky Lake?
Yep.
LBL?
Tennessee River, yep.
You know what else is around there? Which you don't need to be thinking about.
What's that?
It's really big deer.
Oh, yeah. Southern Illinois.
Coleman's a deer hunter,
I've already been
too.
thinking about that. So.
You'll be out there scouting the LBL.
Oh, yeah.
And don't be doing that when you're supposed to be fishing or getting ready for a tournament or going to class, for that matter. But tell the viewers kind of what, through your interview process, through your opportunity, which obviously you've made the most of, kind of what the coach there, Mr. Gary Mason and that crew, comes to expect from their guys.
So first off, you really got to make sure you're keeping your head down in school and keeping good grades. That's probably the biggest thing. And
this I don't want to interrupt you, but this isn't to scare anybody off. But Coleman may not brag on himself, but you have a 4.5.
Yes, sir.
4.5 GPA. Now, I don't know about you, Tyler, but I never saw the number 4 on the front of my GPA in my life.
No, not even close.
No, I got close. I actually did make straight A's when I graduated high school, when it actually, like my very last semester, when it didn't really matter anymore.
I guess if you count my last semester, when it was like PE, weightlifting,
Oh.
gym, you know, I probably,
You might have made straight
I
A's
might
in
have
that.
made straight A's.
Yeah. Well, so I'm gonna let you go back to what you're talking about, but the kid has got over a 4.5 GPA, and that is that's nothing to hang your head about. I mean, that's amazing in itself, right there. But yeah, go ahead and continue about what the expectations.
Yeah, so they expect a lot of when you go there. They're all for you. Everything they do is putting into you, so they want you to put out the best for them, no matter if it's school, out on the lake, no matter what you do, you're promoting their brand and that school you're fishing for.
And they hold you to very high standards.
Definitely, yeah.
And that's what that's one of the things your dad and I.
Almost like a job. When you're fishing for them, it's like a job.
That's right. That's right. I mean, tell them some of the things that the coach mentioned that it's just like any college athlete. Like you're held to a higher standard because of the eyeballs that are going to be on you, right?
Definitely.
And because of the brand, Bethel University, that you're representing. But some of the things they mentioned to you.
A couple of things. He was big on not even having your hat backwards, no pictures with your hat on backwards, no drinking, partying, none of that. He's very strict on just setting a good example for the Bethel fishing team.
And that's a big deal. I mean, in this day and age, it's very challenging with social media and the influence that we see through those platforms to stay the path, to stay the course, and to keep to keep a straight path going, moving forward, and pursuing the career that I know you want to pursue. So, the impressive thing to me is, one thing I see with a lot of college anglers is whether they end up fishing professionally or not, they are very well rounded when they come out of those programs to potentially get a job in the industry that they love, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it could just be in the outdoors in general. It doesn't have to necessarily be fishing related, but you build those relationships and those contacts through these college experiences that you never know where they might go, right? And that's what I think a lot of people miss out on that don't get that experience or don't take advantage of that experience is if they're a phenomenal fisherman and they make it fishing, great. But if they don't, what do you have to fall back on?
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing it the right way. And I applaud you for that. So fishing at Bethel University. Well, you've got a little bit of fishing ahead of you with the CCBA.
Yep.
So y'all got the spring season starting pretty soon. Your schedule is Norman,
Tillery, and then Hickory.
So Lake Norman in March, Lake Tillery. When is that one? Is that March also?
I think it's late March, maybe.
Late March, okay. And then you've got Hickory late April, right?
Yep.
Mid to late April, because we talked about that. 3 phenomenal lakes at phenomenal times. I mean, y'all should hit them all. Right in the
weather's
wheelhouse.
good, yeah. It'd be good fishing.
March in the Carolinas. I was going to say in North Carolina, but March in the Carolinas, you usually can't go wrong. Hickory in April. I mean, it should be absolutely phenomenal. So, you finish up the CCBA season. You start prepping to go to Bethel. I want to know, and I'm sure the viewers are curious, how when you get to that school, how do you earn your spot? Like, because they don't send the whole team to every tournament, right? To every college event. So how do you earn your spot? How does your practice work? How does the qualifications work within the team?
So how Coach Mason described it to us was they run it basically like a high school varsity and JV team. So once you get there, you got to earn your spot, fishing small little club tournaments or just going out on the weekend and just learning who your partner is, and then
when you say club, you mean the
within
team?
The club,
within the team. Okay,
yeah.
Got you.
And you just work your way up to prove your spot on the team, and that's how they determine who gets to go to the tournaments. And if you want to go to the tournament or not, you get first pick of if you want to go or not.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. So right off the bat, you'll jump into these qualifying tournaments, and then I guess you accumulate points.
Yeah.
Do they match you up? I've always been interested. How do they match? How do they pair you up like when you first get there?
So he basically said when we first start fishing, you kind of pick who you want to just from friends and meeting them, and then if he has to, he will assign you a partner, but it's just who you feel most comfortable with, and he lets the team figure that out for themselves because it helps build that relationship between your partner and you.
Yeah, you don't want to just assign them randomly and then two might not. Because, I mean, fishing team tournaments, it's a big deal clicking with your partner, right?
Yeah.
Like making sure you kind of get along and you see eye to eye and your fishing styles complement each other. You know, you don't necessarily want two super strong shallow water power fishermen in the same boat all the time because when you get out deep, you know, you'd be like lost puppies. I have no doubt you'll do just fine. But how many members on the team how many total members on the team will they have?
I think it's roughly 30.
30. Okay.
Close to that, yeah.
So that's a big team.
Oh, it's
a
very
big team.
yeah.
And they'll send how many to each event?
I want to say around probably most of the people go to the events. He kind of described it to me, if you want to go to that event, they usually let the people who are higher up, like the varsity players,
right,
they get more benefits to that tournament. But if you're willing to pay, then he probably won't hold you back from going to that tournament.
Okay.
If you pay for some of the stuff.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question. Every university is different on how well they're funded and how well the fishing programs are supported at each school. Let's see, Ryan had a good question. Oh, he said you're drinking a Sundrop just like smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to grab a Sundrop since he's sitting in Brian's seat tonight. So, but want to know, does the university supply any of the actual boats or the gear for that team?
I think they don't supply the boats or gear, but their sponsors give really good discounts. Like I know Garmin just came on to Bethel this year giving really good discounts. Different rod brands, reel brands, bait companies, they all give really good discounts, but I don't think they supply you with nothing.
Okay, so I got a tough question for you.
All right.
So they don't supply the boats, so I assume that the students are responsible for those boats.
Are responsible for the boats.
So not every student's going to have a boat. Not every kid that's fishing there is going to have a boat.
Yep. If
you qualify, or if you're, proving your mettle that you're worth one of the main people that they're going to send to an event, somebody that owns a boat doesn't, will they give up their boat?
Actually, I'm not sure about that one.
I was wondering how that might work.
We didn't talk about that down there, so I'm not sure about that. I've actually wondered that myself, who's going to give up the boat and who's going to take their boat. So
well, you just never know how that works because liability and insurance and things like that. So that's why, you can let anybody borrow your boat.
And I feel like more guys have boats than don't probably on that team, most likely.
On that team, most likely. I'm with you on that. All right, well, cool. Let's... Randy, what's up? Redcrest, Rusty, actually, just a correction. I mentioned earlier that it's 5-fish format. I talked to Brian today. He said the Redcrest is a 5-fish format this year. So with it being a 5-fish format, it's definitely going to change because Norman has always been a great numbers lake, and you can catch a gob of 1 pound. I guess if that was their scoreable bass up there, you could catch a gob of 1 pound plus fish. But with it being a 5-fish format, it's definitely going to change that tournament quite a bit because Norman is a place where you can truly go out and catch 60 one day, and you might have 50 that are scoreable under that format, but your biggest 5 weigh 7 pounds 3 ounces. But you can also, there's ways to approach that tournament that time of year where you can target bigger than average fish, and you might not catch 60, but you might catch 7, and 5 of them are the right ones. So I like the fact that it's 5 fish. Obviously, I'm a 5-fish guy, but I like the fact that championship on that specific lake that time of year is going to be 5 fish as opposed to because that lake could get. It's just not going to be as engaging or entertaining if it was every fish counts.
I think it'll even up the odds too amongst the field.
Yeah, if let's just be honest, if it was a 1 pound minimum, which is probably what it would be at Norman because there's not a lot of 2+ pound class fish in that lake, and you were watching half the Redcrest field out there on deep spotted bass schools just doing the same thing all day long, it's just not as fun to me.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're going to see guys up shallow, throwing big swim baits, flipping a jig, cranking, all kinds of stuff to try to target those big pre-spawn largemouth and win that tournament. So I think it'll definitely spread the guys out a little bit more. It'll definitely make it a lot more interesting to watch and follow along. So that will be a very very good event, and I'm looking forward to keeping my eye on little fella in particular. I say little fella. That wasn't a shot. Sorry, Smoke. He's a little fella though. He's a little fella. One of the things we wanted to talk about too was Smoke's little incident over the holidays. I'm sure a lot of y'all follow Brian on social media, but Brian had a little mishap.
Yep.
Are you aware?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see it on social media?
I saw all of it, yep.
Did you?
Yeah.
So, and poor Allison,
Great way to start a new year, isn't it?
Yep. And you know when it happened, right?
Right during Christmas, wasn't it?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, I didn't know
It was Christmas Eve. So it was Christmas Eve. You know, there was obviously all over the country, there was a super hard freeze going on. I'm talking about like single digits around here, which we hadn't seen in years and years and years. In the mountains in North Carolina, I mean, they were talking about -30, -40 wind chills. I know everybody up north and out west is probably laughing because they're used to stuff like that, but Carolinas ain't prepared for stuff like that. But there was a lot of pipes that froze and burst, and a lot of issues, a lot of flooding, a lot of houses got damaged. But Brian's flooded, and it was kind of I don't know why it happened, but basically what happened is on the second story of his house, he's got a little bathroom up there, and the little line that comes off the back of the toilet that goes down into the fitting, into the wall where the on-off valve is. I'm not a plumber, so forgive me if I'm not using the right terms. It just popped out. It just popped out of the fitting there. And
Was it because of the cold weather?
Well, I don't know. It was inside.
Yeah.
So
You think it wouldn't be?
y'all, if any of y'all are plumbers out there, y'all let us know if that would have anything to do with the cold weather, because it did happen to be like a day or two after we had that super, super cold weather. So it popped loose. They just happened not to be home, unfortunately, and they were gone for a couple hours while this thing's spewing water on the second floor of their house. And then, the rest is history, because I went over there that night. I took my shop vac to try to help him a little bit. By the time I got there, he had a couple buddies there already helping him. They had the majority of the water cleaned up when I got there, and there wasn't a lot left to dry up. But there was still water running out of the can lights in their ceiling. There was water dripping down the doors. There was water running down the lights over the bar. So basically, Brian and his family, bless them, they're in a rental, and they're looking at, I think he told me 2 to 3 months. I'd be amazed if it was done in 2 to 3 months, because all the hardwood's ripped up, the ceiling's tore out, the walls are tore out. I mean, it's going to be a mess. But hey, it is nothing. I told Brian, I said, be thankful, because it's nothing that couldn't be replaced.
Yeah,
you know.
totally.
So, but yeah, it was a bad deal, and it was the PEX line up there. That's right, Ryan. It popped out of the compression shutoff. It's called a compression shutoff. So I just
Plumber
said
terms there.
I said the hose that runs into the wall with the on-off valve on it. I mean, that's close. Whatever.
I knew what she was talking about at least.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he put a picture up on Facebook too, so
Yeah.
I know exactly what it was. All right, so you are. When will you actually move into Bethel?
I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm probably late summer, somewhere right in there.
Okay.
About usually a little bit earlier before you go back to school around here, probably.
And I know you said you don't know y'all's schedule,
No, we don't know
but
that yet.
you'll have a fall and a spring schedule,
Yeah.
similar to high school fishing.
And he even said, too, we might have to come back during the summertime, because there'll be summer tournaments we might be fishing as well.
Okay.
So there's always that, too. We'll be coming back during
Okay.
the summertime.
Coleman doesn't know it yet, but I'll babysit his turkey flocks and his deer herd while he's away at college. This kid over here, he kills turkeys and giant deer like no other. So, hey, but I'm gonna tell you right now, like, don't let that get you sidetracked.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna be over there in West Tennessee around some major duck hunting areas, and you're gonna be closer to the Mississippi now. So don't let
Yeah.
that draw you away from your fishing. And
Fishing's a lot better, too, though, than around here, so.
yeah, Kentucky Lake. You know, I don't know how it's fishing now. I know it went through a pretty bad decline in recent years due to the Asian carp invasion that's happened out there. I know they've done a lot. Mark Menendez has been very proactive on that whole deal, trying to get those things under control. So I don't know how the lake's fishing now, but I hope it's starting to come back. I'll get a fresh report from you though this fall.
Yeah.
when
I
I
actually talked to KJ about before I went down there about the college, and he told me how good Kentucky Lake used to be. They go out there and catch 60, 70 bass
amazing.
every time, and now you can go, you want to catch a fish.
So it's still like that now.
That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame, because I remember when early in my career when I first started, 07, 08, 09, Kentucky Lake was arguably the best lake on the Tennessee River system. Chick was getting really good at the time. Gunnersville's obviously always been pretty strong, but Kentucky Lake was arguably one of the best on the Tennessee River system. And it's just like he said, you could go out there in May and June and just wreck them offshore.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, you could catch your average fish would be a pretty 2.5, 2 3/4 pound fish. And then you'd catch your occasional 6, 7, 8 pounders too. Used to have a lot of healthy grass in the lake on the lower end, down towards Paris and New Johnsonville. I don't know what that's looking like, but yeah, it's a shame because if it's truly that bad now, and they've been working for several years to get that Asian carp population under control. I just don't know. I just don't know how well they're doing it. So, or how they're doing it. I know that commercial fishing, they tried to get the netters to come in and do it. Somebody needs to come up with something that can poison those suckers, but not damage the rest of the lake. But a lot of people
telephone them. You ever seen that?
Can you telephone them?
Yeah.
Oh, shock them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can shock them. Well, I guess you can, but I don't know. I mean, maybe y'all need maybe the Bethel team needs to go out there with some old telephones one day and shock them up.
Yeah.
Better take a big boat though, because them suckers are not small. You can see them. Tell you something you enjoy. You go out there and bowfish for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
I've
go
seen
out there and
videos
boat.
of that.
Yeah, you go out there and bowfish for them, have a good time, and it's for a good cause because you're getting rid of some of them too. That's a good question from Ryan. I haven't even asked you this. What's your major?
I'm a major in business and business management.
Business and business management.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something with business. Yeah.
So, and that's good because you're gonna be fishing, right? Yeah. Kind of helps you get your foot in the door there and understand, because fishing, if you happen to make a career, whether you make it on the tournament side or you make it in the industry itself, people don't realize how big a part of my job is actually business oriented as opposed to just catching bass. So that's good. You're going to have your background in business too. All right. So business management, which I did agricultural business management, pretty much a business management degree, and I minored in economics. And I'll tell you, if you can minor in some kind of
Ag wouldn't be bad too. I like doing stuff with
a marketing degree.
Yeah. That's what my dad's told me about, that marketing degree too. It'd be a good thing to do.
Absolutely.
For selling yourself in the fishing business.
That's right. Brandy Gibson said they're going for Thrift and Andy first and second in the Redcrest. I imagine. I forgot Andy's going to be fishing it. He's always done well at Norman, and the way his style of fishing suits the 5-fish format for that lake that time of year too. So Andy's going to be one to pay close attention to also. What about weight predictions? You fished Norman a bunch, so let's talk about a weight prediction for Redcrest. Now, I don't know, Tyler, do you know, is it like, it's not like the Classic where it's 3-day cumulative. Do they have cuts and all this stuff? Or
I think it's like a 5-day event.
So they still have 2 groups, and they still do.
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
The first 2 days are like combined, then they make a cut or something.
So I know the expos.
I think we're all a little
3
fuzzy
days.
on this format.
I seen online the expo was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but the actual Redcrest was, I think, 2 days before that through Sunday.
Okay, so if Brian was here, I'd just ask him, but he bailed on us. But no, okay, let's just say this. If it was, for sake of argument, unless somebody wants to chime in and let us know in the comments exactly how the weights are going to be zeroed and all that. Let's just say they make a final day and there's only 10 left. Final day weight prediction, single day, which I don't know if it's going to be like that. Surely they're not going to do that to them. They're not going to zero all their early round weights.
Might.
I could
for
see
some
it,
reason,
yeah.
I think they might zero the weights for the final day for the. If it's 10, I don't know if it's 10.
Okay, so Angie, thank you. Angie said first 2 days, then 0, and last 2 days. So last 2 days would be cumulative. So sounds like to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Angie, they have 2 days, then they cut the field in half. Is that right? So I'm 10 fish last day, 10 fish last 2 days, I'm assuming. So it'd be 2 days. So let's give a 2-day cumulative weight for the winter, which is the final 2 days. Brandy said 14 a day. That time of year, that could be That could be pretty close. What's
I
your
was
prediction?
thinking around probably 14 or 15 a day.
So 28 to 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Tyler?
I was thinking around 29.
Or 28 to 30 pounds.
Yeah, I was sitting here just thinking 29 because you know as well as I do on that time of year, that lake, there's a potential for a 16, 17 pound bag.
Yes.
But you're not going to catch it 2 days in a row.
There's a potential for a 20-pound bag that time of year.
Very. But more than likely, that same guy's going to catch a 12-pound bag the next.
Yes.
day.
So I'm going to say because the lake's going to be pretty beat down the first couple days, I'm going to say 20. I'm going to say 28. 28 will do it. Yeah. I mean, I'm right there with y'all. I don't see 30, and that's just because the pressure that lake's going to be under for the first couple days. A lot of those big fish that are, set up to do their thing are going to get picked off. And, that time of year, I'm not sure. When in March is it? Like, do y'all know the dates?
It's
Is it middle of March?
March, I think, the
Or early
8th
March.
through the 12th.
Okay, so it's fairly early, almost
I
mid-March.
think it's the first week.
So
First or second
and
week.
I can talk about anything. Brian's not here. He might get paranoid and be like, "Don't tell me anything about Norman." He doesn't watch the show anyway. A lot of
Yeah.
his competitors might watch the show, but one thing about that place, that time of year, that lake to me fishes like 2 or 3 different lakes anyway. In one.
100%,
And that's due to the hot water discharges, right? So you're going to have fish in all stages. I'm not going to say you're going to have very many post-spawn fish because it's early March. But I do know for a fact that in certain areas there will be fish spawning. Is that the way to win? I don't think so, but
You know, to do a little bit of everything, probably.
right? Yeah, I think a guy's going to have to mix it up, but it would not surprise me to see a really big bag or 2 caught sight fish in the first day or 2.
I could see somebody catching 16 or 17 probably.
Yeah, 100%.
Sight fishing, yeah.
100%. Daniel Jones said 17 a day, so that's. So keep in mind that's the final 2 days. 17 a day would be really, really strong. There's a lot of like you see a lot of single day weights at Norman this time of year and on into the pre-spawn where it takes 18, 19 to win, sometimes 20 to win. We've seen a few 20-pound bags, not a bunch of 20-pound bags. We've seen a few, but usually 15 to 17 is a pretty solid sack. It's usually top 1 or 2. Sack about every week, day in and day out on Norman this time of year. 17 2 days in a row would be really strong, especially after it's been beat up for a couple of days.
Be hard to beat that, probably.
Yeah,
You're
17
not
a
coming
day.
in practice before that. They're going to be beat up on too. So I mean,
Well, those guys don't beat up on them in practice. Not like a bunch of BFLers or something. Those guys, they understand that when they go out there to practice, they're not trying to catch much fish. They're trying to get ideas. They're trying to visualize where the fish are headed. Getting a couple bites is a bonus. But, that's the way, I say that. That's the way I practice. I don't know many guys in the elites that want to go out there and catch 20 in practice. If I caught 20 in practice, I'm probably not going to have a good tournament, unless I'm somewhere like maybe St. Lawrence River where I caught 20 2.5-pounders, and you can't weigh any of those in anyway.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, those guys are looking for just looking for hints, looking for clues, looking for ideas. They're all great fishermen, and they know what to do that time of year. It's just it's whoever that time of year can stay one step ahead of them is going to come out on top. That's the deal. That's the deal about pre-spawn. We talked about it last night, actually. Those fish they're feeding, they're moving, they're feeding, they're moving, and then they're spawning. So. Keeping up with them is going to be key to winning that tournament. Techniques for that tournament, Coleman. What would be like if you were fishing the Redcrest and you were fishing a 5-fish format, not counting sight fishing because that's kind of a wild card. What would be your
I definitely have a
number
jig.
one?
Definitely a jig.
Definitely a jig.
Yeah. Hitting some deeper docks probably.
And you'd be targeting docks.
Deeper docks.
So that's a pretty proven pattern for Lake Norman as far as producing better than average bags that time of year. I'm gonna say a crankbait is going to be a huge player. The problem with the crankbait on that lake is it's going to be very, very, very conditional.
And I'd use a jerkbait too. I'd have me a
jerkbait,
jerkbait.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd have me a jerkbait right beside me.
And you'd have that forward facing sonar just a rocking.
Yep.
Are you running active target? You're
Active
running active
target,
target,
yep.
right? I couldn't remember if you were running active target. So are you going to get the new active target too when it comes out?
I've been thinking about it. It's tempting.
Well, I've heard some pretty phenomenal things about it. I have not actually used one myself. I'd be lying if I said I did, but I know somebody who has. Our active target now is I love mine. It's phenomenal. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to have a 2 on my boat before the Classic, and if I do, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. But I hear it's pretty darn legit.
They have a new a new unit out too, don't they?
They got a Pro.
Yeah.
So they got a Live Pro. One cool thing about the Live Pro that I've been told is that you can run multiple screens, multiple
there's so many more
transducers.
features you can.
Correct.
Yeah, with the target.
So like now, if you're wanting to run scout mode and your forward-facing sonar,
together.
you can do that through the Pro units now, whereas before you could only run one or the other. But very, very interesting. Lawrence has got some really, really cool things coming down the pipe, and I'm foreseeing this stuff starting to ship, in the next couple months. But we'll keep everybody in tune with what's going on there, because I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to get one on my boat. All right, so here's the actual. Let's see, Angie got us clued in. 80 first 2 rounds, 20 knockout round. Weight carries over to final day, but only 10 guys. So 80 the first 2 rounds. That means the whole field qualified for Redcrest. I think she meant 40, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be the whole.
Okay,
field.
so it's like 20 and 20 probably. Weights from the knockout round. Okay, Rusty said weights from the knockout round will carry over into the championship round, and the winner of the event will be decided by the heaviest knockout and championship round 2-day cumulative weight. Okay, so that's kind of what Angie was telling us. Okay, so corrected, yeah. 40, so 20, so basically half the Redcrest field made the championship, similar to what, well, we're fishing, half of our field doesn't make the Classic, but it's 40% roughly. Yeah. So it's 2 groups of 20, and then they're cut down 10 and 10, and that group of 20 fishes a knockout round, and then it's cut down to 10, and that final 10 takes their knockout round and final day cumulative to see who comes out on top. Got it. Alan Outdoors, sorry to hear that. He said he got his catalytic converter cut out at a boat ramp. That happened. We were at, we go back there this year too. We were at the Sabine River a couple years ago, and what are you laughing about, Tyler? You remember that?
I know where you're going with this.
It's funny because I borrowed a truck that had it cut out. Do you remember that? I don't know if you remember that. You could probably hear me from across Shelby driving this truck.
Oh,
but so I was in between Tundras, and I borrowed a Tundra that was at that event. That was one of the Tundras that got targeted during this catalytic converter heist. There, John Cox lost his. Not lost it. He got his stolen. And it was so funny because we were sitting there ready to blast off, where we were in the launch line at the elite event at Sabine River a couple years ago, and I got my window down. It's nice weather outside that time of year. We were down there in March or April, I can't remember, but anyway, it was spring. It was just nice to sit there in the launch line with your windows down, and I had my windows down. And it sounded like a drag car coming into the line there, and I looked back and it was Cox's Tundra, and I thought the dude had put like some major it sounded like a rice burner on steroids. Like it was awful, and he was giggling about it. But what had happened is he had got his catalytic converter stolen, and they hit like 4 or 5 trucks that night at the hotel John was staying at. And the one that I ended up borrowing later was one of the ones that got hit there. And it's funny because I had some buddies around here, people around here like loud trucks. Some of them do. You know all about that, don't you? And they asked me, man, what'd you do to that truck? Man, that thing sounds good. And I'm like, well, if you think it sounds good, all you got to do is just
take it off.
Yeah, cut your catalytic converter out and you'll have you one. But yeah, it was pretty obnoxious to say the least. Alan said it was the middle of the day. Man, that's a bad deal. I hate a thief. God, I hate a thief. Yes, Ryan's right. Said next people will start stealing chickens with the price of eggs now. All right, your biggest takeaway from the high school fishing, what would you say your biggest takeaway is? You've had some success in high school fishing, obviously. You've done very well in school, but from an experience standpoint and prepping you for where you're headed, what would you say is the one of the single most important factors of your high school fishing career that helped you prepare the most?
I would say just keeping an open mind while you're fishing. There's been many times we'll have a good practice and then do bad in the tournament, and then vice versa, we'll have a bad practice and do really good in the tournament just because we keep that open mind, me and my partner, about spots we've had them in the past, and just always knowing there's some way you can catch them better than what you're doing right now.
Yeah, that's good. And we've talked about that a lot, about how easy it is to get caught up on practice.
Yep.
And I mentioned that earlier about I think so many people, and especially, I was guilty of it, fishing tournaments growing up when I was your age, and I'm jealous because y'all are so much further ahead than we were at your age with the technology that's available, all the outlets you have through social media, things like that. But I would feel like I had to go out there and get 25 bites to have a good practice. I had to felt like I had to go out there and catch 20 pounds to have good practice, and if I didn't, I just wasn't happy. But it's more about just understanding the current conditions that are being thrown at you, understanding the stage the fish are in, and understand how and why they're doing what they're doing and where they're headed, right? Because you want to stay, you've got to stay ahead of them all the time. That's the key. You got to stay ahead of them. You don't want to fish on the past.
Active target kind of hinders that some when you're sitting there looking at 20 fish in the brush pile. You really don't want to leave that spot, but something I've had to learn too with that. Yeah,
forward-facing sonar, super addictive, right? You've been very successful with it.
Yep.
I'm sure it's gotten you in trouble sometimes too. You had a second place finish at Lake James this year.
Yep. With the forward-facing sonar.
All off of the Lawrence active target, pretty much. Tell people, when does Coleman decide to stay or go? When you're looking at fish that are bass, and why? Why do you make that decision? Because we're all guilty of doing what you just said.
I usually have 3 or 4 baits I go through, 2 like a swim bait or a jerk bait, trying to get those fish to react, and then I'll hit them with a drop shot, that's my favorite technique, is a drop shot, and a drop shot or a jig, and I'll probably give them 10 minutes. And if I don't get nothing with it by then, or just see them react to it, then I'm definitely moving to the next spot. And usually I can tell if the fish are suspended in that brush pile. Usually those are the ones that bite for me. So I can usually tell pretty quick if I'm going to get a bite or not out of that brush pile or the fish I'm looking at where I'm fishing offshore.
And you're watching kind of how they react to your bait.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
If they're not moving, they're not following it much, they're super they're kind of set up, but they're not. You can tell they're not actively feeding.
Yeah.
That can be a pretty good telltale sign to move on. But you're right. Hit them with reaction baits. See how they respond to that, and then always follow it up. Brian talked about that last night, and Brian and I had the privilege of going over and giving a couple seminars to the CCBA club last night, and Brian talked about offshore fishing. Great seminar. Gave a lot of really good info to all the kids there. And the boat captains about fine-tuning your electronics to how to approach offshore fishing in general, and even showed a few of his baits. But one thing he talked about that you just mentioned was when you pull up to a group of fish like that is hitting them with a reaction bait, and but being thorough and making sure you follow those reaction baits up with a slow-moving bait before you actually bail on them.
A lot of people give me hate for throwing that drop shot, but I really like throwing it because I think it gets overlooked.
It catches fish.
Oh, yeah.
It catches fish.
I throw it all year long if they bite it.
That's right. And, around here, even high rock in the yakking system. Guys, you talk about power shotting and things like that sometimes too. So a drop shot catches them in anywhere you go, any time of year. And around here, it's a tried and true technique that just gets bites. When you're in a tough event, that's definitely something that I always have close by. If I need a bite, I can pull it out and get a bite. All right, let's. We've got a good trivia question coming up, again, sponsored by Angler's Choice Marine. We're going to be giving away one of these nice, super high-end weigh-in bags, custom Angler's Choice Marine weigh-in bags. Mercury on the back, Angler's Choice on the front. A custom Angler's Choice hat to the winner. That will be shipped to the winner just as soon as we get your information. If you do end up winning the trivia, as always, send us a message on our Facebook page. That's the LTF Facebook page with your shipping information, and we'll get it out to you. But man, Coleman, I tell you, I told you earlier I was jealous, but the opportunity that you have in front of you is truly amazing. And like I said, it's still surreal for me to think about kids are getting scholarships to go fish. You know, like that's, I still can't wrap my head around that.
Oh, yeah, it just puts you so far ahead of the game of guys who don't go and do it because you learn so much fishing all these lakes across the country.
Yep.
Rather than just fishing a few around here.
Which is going to build versatility.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to, you know, I think.
Like you said earlier, connection, you're going to meet so many new people.
I think the relationships, which, you know, my college career, obviously, I say college career, it didn't have anything to do with fishing. I was just in college.
Yeah.
And I was fishing in college, but not for a team or anything like that. You know, the relationships that you're going to build and the friendships that you're going to make are going to be some of the biggest takeaways that you're going to have, no doubt, through this experience at Bethel. And hey, you're going to be one of the best programs in the country. And I like your odds, you know, of chasing a career in professional bass fishing because this university has had its fair share of successful anglers.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me when I talked to the coach, he said, by the time you leave fishing for me, 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, that almost everybody in the fishing industry will know who you are. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
He told me that, yeah.
That is pretty cool. So tell the viewers how they can follow you on social media and also Bethel, the fishing team. I mean, I'm sure they have their own social pages.
They're on Instagram. I think it's just Bethel Bass Fishing.
Okay.
Something like that. It'll pop up. And then mine's Coleman_self, something like that. So I'm not really sure. I can't remember it, but.
You can't remember your handle on social media?
I know a lot. I don't get on Instagram a lot.
You're going to need to remember that. So are you on Facebook?
I don't have Facebook
You don't
either.
have Facebook? All right. So TikTok?
I do a little bit of TikTok, but I don't post. I just watch TikTok.
Oh, yeah. You're like me. I don't really. I've got like
But I'm hoping once I get into college and start fishing more, I will start doing more with Instagram and promoting myself on there.
Yeah. I mean, I take it from me. It's kind of a, you know, whether you're for it or against it, it's kind of one of those necessary evils, you know, that you just kind of got to, like, I still don't have a personal Facebook page to this day. I have a fishing page because I knew years ago that that's something that I just needed to build. But yeah, you know, and taking off to Bethel, I mean, because people are going to be interested in what Coleman Self's doing, how the Bethel fishing team's doing,
100%.
and they're going to want to know more about the individuals on that team. You know, you go out and you win a national championship or something, and they can't go on social media and follow you somewhere. They're gonna want to look after you. So, but yeah, Coleman_self on Instagram, right?
Yep.
All right, and then the Bethel Bass Fishing Team.
Yep.
So, and I'm sure they're on Facebook and Instagram.
I'm not sure about Facebook, but definitely Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll check.
Instagram.
We'll check out Facebook too. Ryan said we need a turkey hunting page. We can do it. You can check out Coleman's Instagram page, y'all. Coleman_self, and you want to see? So he's got turkeys on there. He's got some
deer,
monster
fish,
deer, fish,
everything.
All our viewers will. I promise y'all will eat that up. If you like deer hunting, you like turkey hunting, and you like catching big bass, be sure to follow Coleman on Instagram. All right. Mr. Vane, he said, dang, what I missed so far. You missed quite a bit, but I'll tell you this. Our shows, as you all know, they go to all our podcast platforms after we finish them up on YouTube. So you've got a chance to watch them back on our YouTube channel, or you can jump over on the podcast platforms and download them to listen to them while you're driving. I'm guilty. Do you listen to pot fishing podcasts?
I do a little bit, yeah.
Do you? Which ones do you listen to?
Mainly y'all's pretty much, yeah.
I was just wondering what he was going to say.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I was listening to it in school today.
You were listening to our...
I have a class that don't start till the 24th, so I've just been watching fishing podcasts in the library.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Very cool. Any other fishing podcasts out there you like?
No, not really.
Not really?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that because you're sitting right here in the studio?
I just watch y'all's mainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. I do. I'm guilty of listening. I've listened to some of the local guys a little bit. You know, there's several local guys around here doing some now. I've also listened to Luke Duncan, good friend of mine. He's got some pretty funny ones. I like getting on Duncan's, especially when he has little controversial guest or something, and there's a hot topic going on in the industry, I like listening to them go at it. But Luke's very entertaining and a lot of fun to listen to. The kind of the OG of the bass fishing podcasts, Bass Talk Live, BTL.
I have watched that one. Yeah.
They are really on top of the game, and they put out a ton of content. If there's a topic or a subject that you want to find or a guest that you want to see, they got it somewhere in their archive.
Oh,
so they're definitely a good one. I feel bad all the time because we only do random shows here and there when our schedules allow, but it's something that we enjoy. It's something that we're able to get in here and give back a little bit. We've had some very educational shows, and then this is the first one. I was super excited because I kind of I didn't give you much notice. I actually text Coleman's dad and Coleman in a group text today. And this is because I'm not paying attention to what day of the week it is. And Barry, Coleman's dad, responded and said, well, Coleman's in school right now, but he will be there.
Yep, that's what he said.
So I said, okay, good enough. And I'm like, crap, I'm texting Coleman. I don't know. You got your cell phone in school?
We're not supposed to have it, but I peeked at it at lunch. So.
Oh, so you saw the text.
Yeah.
Okay. Not supposed to have it, period, or not supposed to have it like on?
Not at all. No.
Oh, you're not supposed to have it there
not
at all?
All. Well,
Okay.
you can have it in your pocket, but you can't have it out doing stuff on
Got
it.
you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. So you can have your phone. You just can't engage
on
on
it,
your
yeah.
phone. I got you. Yeah, one on Angling, BTL and Low Budget Live. I said
Low
Luke
Budget
Duncans. Everybody that follows Luke's podcast, it's called Low Budget Live, LBL.
Okay.
So you got LTF, BTL, and LBL. Those are that's funny that they're all, because Low Budget Live, that's the name of it, but he calls it LBL. So three
Budget
letters.
Live.
A lot of things that are 3-letter abbreviated, aren't there? ATL, LT, LEO, LT. I could go on for days, but all right. So let's jump into our trivia question. I know we only have a couple minutes left, and the trivia question tonight, Coleman actually helped me with this one.
Yep.
Do you remember the answer?
Yeah,
So-
I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
gonna say
I'm
it.
gonna make it a little tougher for him.
Yeah, I
but,
remember it,
But
yeah.
that's the answer down there at the bottom.
I remember it.
All right, and I'm not just gonna make them like shoot out a number. I'm gonna make them shoot out names. Okay. All right, Tyler. You think that's too tough? You think that's too tough?
I don't think so.
We'll start with names.
Yeah, we
and
can
we'll
start
see
with
where it
names,
goes.
see where it
Okay.
goes.
All right. No, or I could give them the number. And then just tell them they have to tell me who they are.
Let me see the names again. I think they'll know them. At least 3 of them.
At least 3 of them. That's
Yeah.
right. See, there's a wild card in there.
There's a wild card, yep.
There's a wild card in there. We basically just told them kind of how many there are, so we have to
Oh,
go
yeah.
with my
I'm sorry.
go with my route. Tyler's over there throwing his hand up.
Sorry, Tyler.
That was the first thing. Don't say it.
Yeah, Chris, by the way, Mercer does have a good podcast, and I haven't gotten to listen to the one last week when he had G on, but I need to go back and listen to that one. I heard it was a really good one. And
I like listening to him talk.
yeah, Ryan's
He's a great one.
Yeah, Gerald's a good one. Ryan's already been on your Instagram apparently because he said, "Dang, Coleman shoots bigger bucks than Matt. Time to step it up, Matt." Yeah, Coleman does shoot bigger bucks than Matt. But I told him he doesn't know I'll be babysitting his herd while he's at college next year. So I already got the go ahead from Pops. Coleman's over. You got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah.
Bigger green things, big giant largemouth. You don't know anywhere y'all are going for the Bethel schedule
No,
yet,
not yet.
right? So when will that be announced?
I couldn't tell you on that one either. I'm not really sure.
So the fall schedule, you would think surely it'd be announced, like,
Probably during the summertime.
yeah, I would think early summer at least. Practice-wise, so if you are going to one of these college events, how will your practice work? When will y'all leave for an event?
So
How many days will
usually-
you practice?
Usually they go down 1 or 2 days before, and you practice those first 2 days, and then you have your tournament that
Okay.
weekend. Yeah,
So about 2 days of practice.
2 days of practice.
and
yeah.
then the event. That's
And usually too, the coach, he'll try to make my schedule a little bit harder in the wintertime. So then the springtime when we're fishing more, you can maybe have it where you have Friday off and you can go down another extra day ahead of time and and get 1 extra day of practice, depending on your school schedule.
Okay.
So that's another good thing about it.
Okay. Yeah, that is cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Trivia question time. Again, it's sponsored by Angler's Choice Marine, which is a presenting sponsor of LTF. Coleman, thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And you know the answer. You know what we're looking for. The rule is, this is our rule. If you've seen the show, you know how it works.
Yep.
The
First
first one that
wins.
comes across our feed,
First
yours
one
or mine,
wins.
is the winner. I get messages that say, well, on my feed, mine went through quicker. Well, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, y'all, because we get the way these things transmit. The first one we see on our feed is the champion, period. All right. You want to ask the
another one of
question?
these
Are you
zots.
going to jump in on them
Yeah.
zots? See, I told you.
I'll let you ask the question.
Your mouth's going to be full of candy. That's why I got to ask the question. Here we go. The question is, everybody knows where Coleman's headed on a fishing scholarship to Bethel University. Bethel, we talked about their credentials earlier. They have kicked out a lot of phenomenal anglers, quite a few fishing at different levels. But there are only 4. There are only 4 fishing at the top level in the sport. A top level meaning the Bass Pro BPT Tour or the Bassmaster Elite Series. There are 4 guys, okay, 4, that Bethel has kicked out that are competing at the top level of the sport right now. And one of them's kind of a wild card, and y'all might argue about it when I tell you who it is and how they got there, whatever. But I need all 4 of those names. You don't have to get the spelling right, but I need all 4 of those names. All right, so I'm starting to get some. I see. I'll give them a hint here in a minute. Tristan McCormick is not fishing the top level, y'all. He is fishing
The Opens,
the
isn't it?
Bassmaster Opens. So it's not Tristan McCormick. I see a couple that have some right names, but they're missing a couple. Let's see. No, okay, so I'm still seeing some really good ones. Whew, there's some that are really close. Help me
are.
out here because they're flying through. All right, I'm going to help y'all out. So, because I've already seen these names. So, Cody Huff, definitely 1. KJ Queen, number 2. I've seen number 3, but I've only seen it once or twice. I'm still looking here. Matt Lee and Jordan Lee, no, they went to Auburn. You see one? That's the one we're missing right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's your hint. The one that everybody's missing, that nobody's gotten yet, just qualified this year to fish the 2023 Elite Series. The 2023 Elite Series. Man, so like, I see a lot of people that have 3 out of 4, but they're missing the one I just mentioned. He just qualified
You
this
give him a
year.
hint maybe what he won to get into there.
Well, that would,
We get to give it away.
you probably just gave it away, but we'll still see if they can figure it out. I don't know if y'all heard what Coleman said, but he pretty
Did I give it away? I don't think that would give it
Cole
away.
Sands, where did he fish in school? That wasn't Bethel.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
I've heard the name, but I'm not sure where he fished.
Polinick did not fish. Woo, I see some close ones. Jacob Fouts did not fish at Bethel either, correct?
I'm not sure about that one.
Well, I see a name. Oh, Lord. Y'all, if Fouts fished at Bethel, we got our answer wrong, but I don't think Fouts. No, it wasn't Patrick Walters either. Patrick Walters did not fish. He fished, was he University of South Carolina? I think he was, or Clemson. Oh,
He wasn't Clemson, no.
if I got if he's at South Carolina and I said Clemson, he'll be mad at me. All right,
to
y'all
think.
help me out here. KJ and Cody are definitely 2 of them. I see. Phew, gosh.
That one was close.
I mean, y'all, so many of y'all have 3 out of 4. So many of y'all now have 3 out of 4. Rusty, you got 3 out of 4. Daniel, you got 3 out of 4. Y'all, John Garrett is not fishing the top tier level. He's fishing the Bassmaster Opens again. Bassmaster Opens. Goodness gracious alive. So Jeremiah Jones said Huff, KJ Queen, Davis, and Cody. Well, Cody is Huff.
Only 3 people.
Huh? Yeah, well,
3 people.
Jeremiah,
Yeah.
Cody Huff is one person. Wow. I can't believe nobody's got it yet. Y'all see it, y'all let me know now, because I'm struggling to read all these here. Again, 3 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 3 out of 4. It's taking longer than I thought.
Good question.
Chris said Dance, Martin, Clun, and Nixon.
That's a good answer.
While we're looking and waiting, I'm curious about something.
They've got to be all together in one. Alex Wetherill did not go to Bethel.
So, Coleman,
Yep.
in collegiate, is there a
Hold
cutoff
on.
Uh-oh.
All right, we've got it. It's and I think this is what he meant earlier, so I got to give it to him. Jeremiah Jones is the champion.
I see it.
You see it?
Yep.
You got the same one, Coleman?
I see it.
So Jeremiah Jones is a champion. It is Will Davis. He was the wild card. A lot of people figured that out. KJ Queen, Cody Huff, and Cole Floyd. Those are the 4 fishing at the top tier. Cole Floyd is over on the BPT. Cody Huff, Will Davis, and KJ Queen will all be 2023 Bassmaster Elite Series pros. So it was Cody Huff, Will Davis, KJ Queen, and Cole Floyd. Jeremiah, send us a message on our Facebook page. I feel like Jeremiah might have won before, possibly. Huh. But anyway, if not, Jeremiah, regardless, you know the drill. Send us your shipping information on our Facebook page, and we will get this Angler's Choice prize pack out to you as soon as possible. Tyler, before we go, you had a question for Coleman.
I was just curious in the collegiate fishing if there was a cutoff period for practice, because you mentioned having 2 days.
Oh, a cutoff for practice?
Yeah.
You mean
No,
could they go practice 10 days in a row if they wanted to?
Yeah, like before the event.
Good question.
I don't think there is a cutoff period. When we talked about him before, talked to the coach about it before, he didn't really mention that, so I don't think there is a cutoff period. Because they would go down like a couple of days right before the tournament. So I think it's just whenever you can get out there and practice, and once the schedule's released is when you can go and fish. So, I mean, you can go down there and fish for a month or 2 before if you really wanted to.
Well, you got schoolwork, man.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean, you
forget-
can't, but, yeah.
So that, to your point, Tyler, I mean, it's a good question, but at the same time, they got.
I think that's why there's not a cutoff, because some people can't go and some
Yeah,
can.
they've got.
Well, that's
school.
what I was
They've
wondering,
got school
'cause-
they got to attend
Well,
to.
that's what I was wondering. He's talking about 2 days, but like if the schedule comes out and it don't start, you could weekends or whatever you got.
Yeah.
So what venture just to go right around.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, so we. Oh, Angie, I can't believe you hadn't ordered a weigh-in bag yet. LTF10, go on Angler's Choice's website. She's bound and determined to win one. She's going to win one through our trivia soon. There's no doubt in my mind. But if you need one ASAP, because you're weighing in all those gigantic bags, go on Angler's Choice tackle site website, grab your bag, and use LTF10 to get 10% off too. If they don't have the bags listed on their website yet, I'm pretty
They look
sure
like
they
nice
do.
bags.
Do what?
They look like really nice
Oh
bags.
yeah, yep. They are heavy duty, very
heavy duty, yeah.
very nice bags. They're
Might have
for
to get
those.
me one.
They're for them 30-pound bags you're
Yeah.
gonna be weighing next year. That's right. I've had a couple questions. They want to know what your personal best is. What's your personal
My
best?
personal best is 8.43.
843. Where'd that fish come from?
Came out of a farm pond and towards Falston.
I thought you was gonna say Moss Lake.
Nah, I wish, but I don't know if you can really count that, because I mean, it wasn't a small pond; it was like a bigger size pond, like lake. But I still
Nah,
count it.
PB's your PB. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter where it came from. PB's your PB.
Yeah.
Now, you know, some people look at that like they do. It's your PB, but we've talked about this on the show before. So do you think a farm pond fish should count towards a state record? I just want your take on it.
I don't think it should, no.
So to me, it's like a high fence deer, right?
It definitely is, yeah.
It's the same concept. Because I can load that pond. I can
100%,
I can
yeah.
control the pressure. I can control
how I
what
look
goes
at
in
it.
and out of it.
Yep.
But your PB is your PB. Like, I think the actual North Carolina state record, like 16 pounds or something, came out of a Union County farm pond. And I have a problem with that. Like, I just do.
Yeah.
Like, I have a problem with that. But it is what it is.
What
Rules
was
are
your
rules.
PB, Matt?
Huh?
What was your PB?
10-2. And I called a 10-2 and a 10-1, and they both came out of Okeechobee. And they were both in practice.
Practice.
Yeah. Actually, one of them was on the bed, and I caught it in practice because I've never seen a female at Okeechobee stay for more than like a day. And it
Yeah.
was the first day of practice, and
So
I
you had
found
to
her.
catch her, yeah.
I found her, and I was like, she's good as caught. I actually got it on GoPro, believe it or not. This was years ago. It's on YouTube, somewhere on YouTube. But, yeah, long story short, congrats to Jeremiah. Send us a message on our Facebook page with your shipping information, and we'll get this out to you. Angie said, "Gonna use a hefty trash bag until they win a weigh bag." Hard up, man.
If it works,
That's
it
for
works.
those 40-pound bags.
Yeah, that's for them hefty. They got them
Yeah.
heavy duty ones now. I wonder how much water and how many bass you could put in a hefty trash bag. We should find out. That should be our trivia question. We should go out to the lake and test it, Tyler, till it blows up, till it busts. We might have to
I
call
feel like it
Coleman.
would hold pretty good.
We might have to call Coleman to fill it up for us, though. 'cause
Yeah,
What
we
about
need
that?
somebody that can catch them for us.
Tyler was out there at Moss the other day, and he'd been fishing for, what, 6 hours or something?
A while.
I said, "You caught one?" Hey, he had a bite. I was out there breaking the boat in, fished for about 30 minutes, and I didn't get a bite, and I said, "I'm out of here." Keep running the boat around and messing with some stuff.
I ended
but
up catching a few.
You did catch a couple that day.
Yeah.
You did. Caught them all off in one little place, too, didn't you?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were just like stacked up there for about 30 minutes.
That's fun when you find them like that because
Yeah.
that doesn't happen very often in
No.
Moss. Except maybe in the summertime you might find them offshore or something. But yeah, it was an interesting day. Moss is, they call it muddy pond when I was growing up because every spring it'd get
It's
muddy.
muddy
and it'd
right
stay
now.
Muddy, and it is muddy right now. Have
Yep.
you been out there?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Did you catch any?
We caught a few, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you catch them on?
Crankbait,
Kind of
Yeah.
crankbait.
DT6.
Look,
Yeah.
you're giving up the goods.
Yeah.
Giving up the goods.
I went out there right after that big rain, and it was just now that you could see the mud line coming down the lake.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good that day.
Okay.
A little wind, so
Should be good. If we get a couple sunny days with that dirty water, it should
It'll
be
warm
really
up
good.
quick, yeah.
It should be good the next couple days. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like, but if it gets warm and sunny, I think it'll be good. One thing about those spotted bass, when it gets dirty, they get stupid. They get up
Oh,
there
yeah.
shallow and they get stupid. They like to bite. That's all you caught, wasn't it? Did you catch largemouth or did you catch all spots?
I think I caught one little largemouth.
One
with
little
the rest were
largemouth?
spots.
That's funny because usually when you do catch a largemouth like that, it's a better than average fish.
Yeah, this past year I've seen a lot more smaller largemouth
Yeah?
making an appearance than I have in a long time out at Moss Lake. So
Huh.
I think it might be starting to upward
I
trend.
hope so. I hope you're right.
there were several times there was a lot of largemouth caught this year. Thursday nighters out there.
Was that mainly around the spawn?
It was more during the summertime.
Really?
Bluegill spawn. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Moss has got them in it. It's just it can be a tricky lake. It's a lot of pressure. You grew up fishing it.
Oh yeah.
But all right. Well, anyway, it's been a good night, Coleman. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on all your success. We're all wishing you the best of luck. Of course, you'll be around here for the next few months, cracking some heads
Oh,
on the next few high school events y'all have. So, your partner now, is he a senior?
He's a senior too.
He's a
yep.
senior also.
Yep.
And forgive me, but what's his plans?
He's wanting to go do something with financing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now has
He's
he?
not big into the fishing thing like I am. you know.
Got you. I remember you telling me that. That's why I didn't think he was going to college to fish. But hey, finance, there's plenty of money to be made in finance. He might be one of your sponsors one day. You
Maybe,
never know
yeah.
that. Yeah. I'm telling you, those friendships, they mean a lot on down the road. But yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun getting to watch y'all do what you do. I admire the opportunities y'all have. I admire the relationships y'all have in the club. Your dad, I can't say it enough, has been a very, very important piece of the puzzle for the CCBA success. Him and Keith Latham both, and I admire them and applaud them for that. But again, wishing you the best of luck. Do you know how we sign this show off?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. So you don't ever watch to the end,
Not
do
to the
you?
end, though. Yeah.
Got him. No, I'm kidding.
He watches for the little bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's
I watched
right.
to the end of the giveaway.
Jeff said he had one job. No, we're kidding. But Coleman, thanks again, man. We'll be seeing you around. Good luck with you at Bethel. We'll be rooting for you. We'll be rooting for you hard, man. It gives me. I follow college fishing when I get the opportunity, but I don't have a personal relationship with a lot of the kids that are fishing these days. But I'm kind of excited to know you and to watch what you've done, and I'm a fan, and I'll always be a fan. So
I appreciate that.
We're gonna have
congrats
to
to
get
you.
us some Bethel gear for the studio.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right, man. We do. So Brian New was supposed to give us a jersey like 16 years ago, and he still has it. You know what his reason was?
What's that?
I only have one jersey. How many elite Bassmaster elite anglers do you know have one jersey they carry around?
One.
One.
Yeah, just
That's
him.
right.
Just him.
One.
Just him.
That's right. His name is Brian New. He still owes us a jersey, but we don't have any college jerseys. And tell Coach Mason
All right.
that when you get there, that we need an extra Coleman Self Bethel jersey
All
to
right.
hang up in the
We can do
LTF
that.
studio, and we'll make sure we put it somewhere. We'll probably put it like where. We'll slide Thrifts over to the corner, and we'll put yours right there where Thrifts is. So, but anyway, appreciate you being here, man. All right, y'all. When we can't go fishing, we're gonna sit right here and talk fish. See y'all next.